I am Jana Proffitt Davis. Welcome to Paws and Prize, my YouTube channel. I'm excited to present to you conversations with breeders and owners of top winning dogs, top owner handlers, top junior handlers, and top professional handlers, and other people that you might find informative and interesting concerning top dogs in their fields. I am happy to introduce to you Brenda Cassell. This episode is going to focus on her history, her breeding program, what she does for her puppies, and how she selects new puppy buyers. Where does the breed come from, and what is their function? She is a preservation breeder dedicated to keeping the breed of Basenjis pure and viable. We are going to see some ringtime video with her Grand Champion Bronze Signet Southern Bound, owned by Brenda and her daughter, Ciara Cassell. Ciara is a wonderful handler and will carry on Brenda's breeding program for the future. Most importantly, we will hear advice from a professional in her field. You're active with your national club. You're real active with your national club, BCOA.
I am a member, and I have. We had a top 20 that was. It kind of died over the years. The club didn't sponsor the top 20. It was a private event. It was handled by Joe Tomey of the Doberman fame. He got tired of doing it, and it was going to die out. So several of the competitors got together, and we decided, hey, let's not let this die. We enjoy this. Let's keep it going. So several of us got together, and I kind of ended up taking the lead, because you know how people say that they want to do something, but they don't. So I took the lead along with a friend of mine, Jordan, and my daughter, Ciara, and some other key people, and we brought it back. And I did that for several years. I think 5 or 6 years I did that. The good thing about the club is they finally did decide to come forward and decide to take it on. However, I feel like I've done what I wanted to do with that, and so I'm going to let some other people take that on.
But you go to the national specialty almost every year?
I go every single year without fail. We take the best of our dogs. We usually take quite a few. We have as many as 12. That's a lot. You think, oh, it lasts several days. That won't be so hard. It's hard. It's hard. So we'll take 8 to 12 dogs with us, sometimes more.
Is that you and Ciara?
Sarah and I, yeah. And then we have a really good co-breeder, Jennifer Seeley, who's co-breeding with us. And she's been very instrumental in helping us get dogs to the ring, stepping in when we need her to. She's actually a good handler. She doesn't like to show, but she's actually very good.
Is the national specialty always in Seattle?
It is not. It moves around regionally. This year it's going to be in Franklin, Tennessee for 2020. This is 2025. Yeah, and next year, 2026, when I'm judging, it will be in St. Louis.
And you're going to judge sweeps?
I'm going to judge the breed.
You're going to judge the breed. You can do that without being licensed?
Yes.
Wow.
I have to go through the hoops. I have to take the tests. I have to get with the, I've already gotten with our local rep. I know that there's steps I have to take. I've already been approved, so I just have to do the testing. And then, yes, I'm allowed.
That's an exceptional honor.
It is. And I will tell you that we've had several in the last few years. Probably the last 3 to 4 judges that we've had have been breeders that were not licensed to judge. So I personally, I love a good all-breed judge. I used to, like Annie Clark. Who didn't love showing to Annie Clark? The Forsyths, who didn't love showing to the Forsyths? But I love a good breeder judge. Give me a good breeder judge any day, and I'm thrilled to bring them my best of my best.
How many times have you gone best of breed at your national?
Oh gosh. I think 3 times. And interestingly, the first time was with a veteran. I can't even remember, but because we've won a lot of awards at nationals. But the first time was with a veteran. It was Nyanga Signet Sweet William. He was one of my Reveille Boutonniere boys, and he was a top special. Won 10 hound groups, I think, maybe more. He won from the veteran class. He won Best Veteran in Sweeps that year, and then he won from the veteran class under a breeder judge, Marianne Klinkowski. Last year we won with Champion Signet Amelia Bedelia. She had won Best of Opposite Sex the prior year under a breeder judge, Katie Campbell. This year she was Best in Specialty Show under, I'm not going to remember her name because she changed. under Ann Harrison. Amelia Bedelia was Best in Specialty Show under Ann Harrison, also a breeder judge from years ago. And she's been out of the breed, for probably 15 years. She's not been in the breed at all, but she did maintain her license. And I consider it a particular honor that she's been kind of out of touch for so long and came in, and I really loved her selection, all of her dogs. We were fortunate enough, I believe we had 6 bitches in the winner's bitch ring of ours, which is quite the fiasco. We had to try to get people to help us out. We did not win winner's bitch, but we thought that she did an excellent job, and we loved her selections.
But you won Best of Breed.
We did win Best of Breed, and we won winner's dog.
Okay.
So that's nice too.
So you mentioned your kennel name. Spell it for me.
It's Signet, S-I-G-N-E-T, the mark of distinction.
Okay. How'd you come up with that name?
Well, I knew an old breeder many years ago, and her kennel name was Felicia's. Well, her dog was Felicia's Night Odyssey. It was a black and white. And she got the name Night Odyssey from an Avon catalog. So I was looking through this Avon catalog, and I saw some references to Signet. So I thought that's kind of what first put it in my mind, and I started to research what is a signet. Well, it's the waxed seal it's put on the royal documents that shows that, you know, the king sealed this. So
Right.
It is a mark of distinction, and that's how I selected it. It was kind of just a little bit of research.
Going back a little bit, what process do you use to select a sire for a bitch that you have?
So I'm going to cross-match my faults from my bitch with the sire that I'm going to select.
What does that mean?
What that means is any faults she has, I'm going to make sure he does not possess them, nor to his parents, nor to his grandparents. If she is a little long, I want to make sure that his line is relatively short-backed. If, you know, they have bad feet, not the greatest feet, I want to cross-reference that generations back on the sire that I select. Temperament's the same. I actually have a lot of soft, goofy bitches, and so what I'm looking for is a little harder temperament for the show ring. I don't want puppies, and I do have puppies. I have one over here that when the judge approaches him, he's probably going to flip over on the table and wag his tail, which is lovely as a companion, but it doesn't make the best show dog. So I'm going to cross-reference my health. I'm going to cross-reference my faults and my virtues. If I can double up on a good virtue, I'm going to try to do it. If I have a bitch that's abundant in wrinkle, I'm going to look for a sire that's abundant in wrinkle, but if he has a little less, that's going to be okay. It's very important to me. I'm not just breeding to that dog. I'm breeding to the grandparents and the great-grandparents. That's where it's at. I think a lot of people miss the boat thinking you're breeding to this dog and this is what you're going to get. You have to know what's behind that. You have to know what's back there, and that is one of the things about being a long-term breeder. Is these are things that you know in your own breed, any of the other people's breeds. I can look at someone's dog that's been breeding for 10 or 15 years, and I know exactly. On the other hand, I can look at a new exhibitor who comes in with a beautiful dog that they just purchased, and I know where it came from. I can tell by looking. I can tell what faults and virtues it will have because I know the pedigree, and they may not even know these pedigrees. So I'm at an advantage when it comes to me choosing a sire or dam, or if they come to me and ask me, they wouldn't know. They don't know anything about the bitch line, right? But I know, and so I can pick a dog for my kennel that's going to suit.
You mentioned the wrinkle. What do you mean?
So Basenji should have wrinkle on the forehead, and side wrinkles are desired, and it comes from the loose skin. So you want your skin to be loose and pliant. When you look at a Basenji's back, you can actually lift up the skin, and it should come off the back pretty good. And the purpose of that is in the brush in the jungle where they're driving this game into the brush, is that if they get cut, that the skin doesn't get ripped off completely. It has some give to it, and so you want that loose skin. That's the pliancy. We do have some judges that'll reach over, and that's absolutely, if you're a judge, do not do that. We also have judges that uncurl the tail. Actually, recently my daughter had it happen to her, and she was so shocked because we've done so much education where the judges don't unfurl the tail. You don't need to lift it. It's a breed. Go walk to the other side and take a look at the tail set. if you can't tell from that side, but never unfurl it. And she was so shocked she didn't say a word, because she literally grown up in this breed and she couldn't believe she actually had a judge that did that. So when you have that pliant skin, you're going to have more wrinkles. You don't want a dry head, you want the wrinkles. And the perfect head will have lots of wrinkles, including a little diamond in the middle, which is highly preferable.
By wrinkle, you mean a wrinkle going from the nose to the back of the skull, or across the skull?
It'll be on the back skull.
Right.
Yeah.
Between the ears.
Between the ears. When the ears are alert, you want to see wrinkle.
Okay.
You want to have a quizzical expression.
Okay. Going back a little bit in our conversation, you talked about the dogs that come from the Congo. What's the process when you bring a dog out of the Congo that has not been recognized by any kennel club, obviously, because they're in the wild, basically?
Yes.
2 questions. How do they live with their villages? How valued are they with their villages? And then when you bring them to the United States, how do you get them recognized with AKC to be in your breeding program?
So in the villages, these dogs run free. They're never contained, which might speak to why Basenjis suffer from separation anxiety here. But they're just free to roam from hut to hut. They do have owners, and they do go out to hunt with their owners. But when they come back, they're just in the villages. They're with the children. They're laying with the children. The children get up and wander off. The dogs will follow them out. It's a very relaxed environment for them. As far as the process, I'm not an expert at this because I didn't go, but when the dogs come back, we had to petition, the Basenji Club of America had to petition the AKC to open the stud book, which is no easy feat. Once that's done, then these dogs that you want to include into the AKC registration have to go through a stringent process of health testing, evaluation by several breeders who've been in the breed for a long time to make sure that they are of the quality that we would want to bring in. I will tell you that the dogs that we brought in originally had a lot of bone. They were heavier bone for the most part overall, and I don't know if that's just the selection process. I'm not talking about they were super coarse, but they had some bone to them. And I felt like those dogs added tremendous shoulder to our domestic stock. Shoulders, temperament, softening the temperaments a little bit. They softened our temperament a little bit, and they added elasticity to our movement.
Okay. The dogs that came from Congo, you said that it brought in a brindle gene, strong brindle gene. Were the black and tans, were the black and whites always in the United States before that, or did that strengthen that black and white?
No, the black and whites were here probably brought in from one of the earlier trips in the 40s, I believe. And we got those from England mostly. The original breeders that brought the dogs in, that created the breed, well, that didn't create the breed, but that accepted the breed. The black and whites were here, the tricolors were here. And so the brindles is a relatively new addition as of, 20 years ago. That's the last color that was brought in and allowed. So we had to vote on that. So the process of getting your feral dogs, basically your wild, your original Africans in, after they're evaluated, after they're health tested, then it goes to a vote for the club, and the club has to vote to allow this dog to be entered into the stud book. It has to pass the vote. Once it passes the vote, then the AKC would be given that information, and then they would process that. So our stud book is still open, and interestingly, we actually have had a couple recently that have been petitioning to be added. We have one right now that's pending. We've had to revote several times because of paperwork problems. I think when the club first sent out the ballot, they had an issue with the mail or something happened, so we're re-voting on it. But it's interesting that our stud book is still open and that we still can make additions right now if we see fit. Most books are closed. You have to petition if you wish to. So for health reasons, many breeds have opened their stud book. So they're having serious health issues with the breed that's going to, possibly affect their ability to carry forward. A club can petition the AKC to open the stud book.
And that means bringing new blood in,
Bring
or
new blood in.
new
So,
genes
like
in.
from Scottish dogs from Scotland, or African dogs or Egyptian dogs into. I don't think the process is that much different than allowing new breeds like the Oshawa. I mean, I don't know how long it's been approved by other kennel clubs, but if you think about many years ago, I saw some people walking around with those at the shows, and they couldn't get them included into the AKC at that time. So I don't think the process is that much different, but you do have to have a cause. You can't just petition the stud book to be open for whatever. You have to have cause. You have to have a reason, I believe, of what you want to do, either for health or whatnot. So, going to Africa, into the deep part of Africa, and bringing dogs back that we say are should be pure, that would be a benefit for us.
Do you know how, let's say you have a feral dog, or you have one that comes from the Congo and it's voted in by your national club here and they're accepted, does that allow them to get the AKC number? How do they get registered with AKC so that the puppies that they sire or have are registered?
I believe that they just fill out an application, and because of when the BCOA has voted that they're allowed, then they are issued an AKC number.
That's what allows the AKC number,
yes,
then.
so they can then be shown or bred. Most of these dogs are not a dog that you would see as show quality in the show ring. However, I will tell you that there have been several that did not come back, that would absolutely walk in the ring and could win here in the U.S. From several trips back. Typically, it's going to take a couple, maybe at least one generation to get them where you want them. The benefits of the African dogs is great for particular breeding programs. There's not a whole lot of negatives to it. You have to know your line. You have to know your program. An interesting thing is when we first did this, the first trips, these African dogs, the club said, okay, there was a lot of back and forth about should we do it, should we not do it. But what we basically decided was that the membership wanted to maintain these pools of pure Africans and breed them forward for generations. Because if there's going to be a problem, or if you're going to have like a Doberman pop out of a Basenji litter, you're going to need to know that. So we have still to this day a couple of breeding programs that are African only. So they've been breeding their Africans for 15, 20 years, maybe longer.
Well, and today we have the luxury of really high quality genetic testing.
We do.
So I'm sure that helps.
It's been invaluable.
Helps quite a bit. So, what has changed in showing since you started? Good, bad, ugly?
Boy. Back in the day, first of all, entries were huge. I could come up to Kansas and we'd have 35, 40 dogs. This weekend we have 2. The quality of the judges, I kind of hate to say it, but someone should say it. The quality of the judges has changed drastically. 50 years ago, you had people who grew up in farming and ranching. You had people who understood basic conformation of animals, cows, horses, and whatnot, that form follows function. People were more involved in agriculture. So that's kind of where they came out of. We don't have that luxury today. Most people do not have cows. They do not breed horses. They do not have a ranch. They get into dogs and they learn what they learn. Some learn properly, some don't learn. Some people have an incredible eye for dogs, an incredible gift. Some people really struggle to learn. You're going to have your outstanding judges, you're going to have your all-breed judges, and you're going to have your judges that struggle. I will say overall, I greatly miss the all-round judges. I miss the way the judges were back in the day. They knew their stuff. They knew soundness. They knew type.
Annie Rogers Clark.
Ann Rogers Clark.
Yeah.
They weren't afraid to put up a dog first time in the ring. A 6-month-old puppy walks in the ring and you could have the top 3 dogs in the country there, and if that dog was worthy, it was going up. When you won under someone like that, you knew you had won. You had really accomplished something. These days I just feel like the judges don't have the advantage of that. Maybe they've been in the breed for a while. Maybe they had handlers that showed their dogs and they don't really know structure that much. It's changed a lot. It's changed a lot. I don't feel like the quality of our judges overall is as great as it was back in the day.
Do you know the person that AKC is, well, let me back up. Has AKC deemed you as a mentor to teach judges for Basenjis?
Yes, myself and Ciara both are mentors. We're approved mentors. We've been mentoring for many years. And I really enjoy that. And I've been told that I am one of the better mentors from the judges that I've worked with. I give a little bit different perspective. Oftentimes they'll come to my kennel, and so we have a vast array of everything from 4-month-old puppies, 6-month-old puppies, the current special I'm showing, which I never bring out, and then top winning dogs from the past and veterans. And I'll show them a bunch of different dogs, and we talk right away about what's good, what's bad. I don't tell them, I ask them. I ask them, what do you see? What is your understanding of this? And after they tell me what they say, well, tell me, but I believe this dog has a really great head, and then we'll discuss the points. What do you think about the shoulders? Well, I think this dog looks like it's a little bit straight in front. That is correct. This is what you want. So that's the way I approach it, and I really, really enjoy mentoring my judges.
I think that's so important nowadays.
I've had a couple that asked if I would be their long-term mentor, and I will tell you that she has not followed up with me in the last year and a half. So I'm always available to anybody, to even our judges who are out in showing today, or out in judging today. If they have a question about the breed, ask me. I've been in this breed for a very long time. I've been very successful. I know the nuances of the breed, and I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be absolutely honest to a fault. I'm going to tell you if you're on track or you're off track. I'm very direct.
Thank you. We appreciate it.